Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to a brand new Whatif. Before I get started, there's a few things I want to say. This Whatif was recommended by two fans. Their channels will be in the description, go check them out. And also, my mic sounds terrible right now, it's because it's really not working properly. I'm sorry, I apologise. It's either really trashy mic or no Whatifs. There's no in between to this one, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately. Actually, let me try to fix it right now. Let's see how it is looking now. Is it looking any better or is it looking worse? It is looking amazing. Anyway guys, this Whatif will be, what if Deku had a dark matter quirk? I know you're thinking, what the fuck? Get past the 30-second mark. What the fuck is that? And you'll see in a bit. But all I gotta say is make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss another daily upload. Please hit that like button. It helps me a lot more than you actually realise, and it's completely free for you guys. If you don't do it, you're just proper muppets. Why? Why? If you did something you put a lot of effort into, and then no one gave you likes, you'd be pissed. Just saying. I'm just saying. Yeah. I don't know how to do that, guys. But I'm not gonna drag this out for too long. Let's get straight into this What If. Cue the intro. We start our story with the Midoriya family, as they have their first son, Izuku Midoriya. He has green hair, green eyes, very identifiable traits for the Midoriya family. This family is very wealthy due to their technology business, which is revolutionising the hero world. Deku was the elder child but had a younger brother and a younger sister named Zuko and Izumi. Midoriya's father's quirk is weak matter control, meaning he can control matter but is very basic and weak. His mother's quirk is weak telekinesis, just like in canon. Zuko's quirk, who is the second older sibling, is medium matter control. So he can control. This allows him to control matter better, more diverse. As well as whatever he makes or creates using this matter control, he can create flow and control with telekinesis. But this type of telekinesis is limited to what he makes. Izumi's quirk is strong telekinesis, meaning without training she can easily lift 1 ton, as well as having boosted intelligence, making her a genius with an IQ of 350. Deku, however, was deemed quirkless, even though his IQ was 1500, but after multiple tests he was found to be a quirkless genius. However, due to him having a loving family, and a rich one at that, Deku was still loved and faced very little abuse from his peers. Him and Bakugo were still best friends, as even though he was quirkless, Bakugo was always amazed about how smart Deku was, and from a young age he understood that quirkless people are actually useful. Therefore, if anyone tried to bully him, Bakugo would beat him up. Deku's parents were rarely home, as they were always overseas on business. So Deku was sort of like a big brother and a parent to Zuko and Izumi, while Mitsuki, Bakugo's mum, was sort of like a parent to Deku as well. However, this ain't like canon where his dad went on a business trip for fucking 15 years. His parents still come home every few weeks. We now have a little time skip to Deku. He was 11 and halfway through middle school. He was with Bakugo, who was confused about why Deku was so happy, until Deku showed him his test results and it said A+++. Bakugo laughed and said, "I don't think you have ever got below an A+, while I'm scared to even look at mine." Deku laughs and says, "It'll be fine, I helped you study." Bakugo hesitantly turns over his paper and jumps up and screams, "Fuck yeah, I got an A+, you extras!" Bakugo then calms down and says, "What else is making you so happy? It can't just be a grade, you've never got below an A+. Deku's eyes light up as he says, "Today's the day my parents come home." Bakugo's eyes also light up as he remembers, "Wait, my mum said as long as I got a B or above, I could stay at yours. Whenever your parents are home, they always bring back the coolest stuff and we always do the coolest things." Both very excited to run to Deku's house after Bakugo calls his mum saying he's great and getting the okay, of course. They both run to Deku's house to stay over. Once Deku gets home, he sees his mum and dad standing at the door, waiting for them, as he runs over and hugs his mum and fist bumps his dad. After Bakugo says hello, they all go inside to have a lovely dinner. And then Deku dad pulls out a little gadget and says, "Here, Zuko, try it." Deku uses it and covers his body in it. It covers his body in a costume. And for that costume, you see the thumbnail. Actually, no, you won't see the thumbnail. Fuck. Basically, it's like the... I don't know how to explain it. It's basically like a... You know the suit they wear in the movies? That black one. Not the green one. It's like trench jacket one. That Bakugo wears one, Todoroki wears a similar one. I don't know what it's called, but that one. Imagine all the green bits on it were purple. Actually no, it's all green. Like, it's basically like, you know what, we're gonna go simple. It's a tracksuit with a hoodie, but it has all these lines going on it that are neon green, and it also has a face covering. And Deku at first asked, "What is it?" Deku's dad then says, well, I'm just gonna say Hiyashi. No, actually, I'm mistaken Deku's dad. "It's your costume for when you apply to UA. I know you're going to the study course, but you never know if your quirk will awaken." Bakugo looks on amazed, but is too embarrassed to ask one. Hiyashi, who sees this, laughs and says, "Of course, Bakugo, I got you one as well. And I also got one for Zuko and Izumi." Bakugo exactly activates his Zoo, and it's the same one as in the Hero Rising movie. That's it. It's the same one as in the Heroes Rising movie, but Hiyashi says, "I added them grenade things as they store sweat, and when you want to, you can send massive explosions with them." And of course, that was added from Izuku's notes on your quirk. Bakugo smiles and starts jumping around. And then you realise it's a bit awkward to carry though, and if you lose it or break it, you lose your costume. Here in this, Deku pulls out his toolkit and examines the gadget, and in a matter of minutes he has reversed engineered it and rebuilt it, giving it more capabilities as well as making it the I've misspelled something. Oh yeah, making it the size of a small diamond or like a crystal. He then yells for Zuko to come here and tells Bakugo to take over stop. Bakugo of course listens, and as Deku guides Zuko, and he says, "Now just like we practiced, Zuko, separate the atoms, the particles of this crystal, just enough to make it intangible, and then slowly do the same thing to that small part of Bakugo's chest, and slowly merge the two separate matters." Now as this is successful, the little crystal is slowly put onto Bakugo's chest, and Bakugo starts laughing saying, "That tickles." Finally, Deku says, "Now disperse the atoms all over," and as Zuko does, you can see small orange dots spread over Bakugo's body. When it is finished, Deku says, "I compressed it and rewrote the code. As before it required manual activation, now it activates with only a fault." As Deku says this, Bakugo strikes a pose and yells, "Zoo on!" as the costume is activated. Bakugo, who is amazed by this, runs over and hugs Deku. Deku says, "Let me finish." It also has a shield function, which is charged off your own stamina. It will be able to roughly take about 10 normal blows, but if it's a heavy blow, it will only be able to take 1. I'll upgrade it of course, but sometimes the blow's too heavy and it won't even be able to block it. It'll only be able to lighten it before needing to recharge it, which takes roughly about 2 to 3 minutes and will drain your stamina while doing so. Seeing this, everyone is amazed, and Hiyashi laughs. I'm going to say Deku's dad. Deku's dad laughs, saying, "You just solved a problem in minutes which 100 world-class engineers and scientists couldn't solve in 2 months. After this, they all laugh and go to bed, except for Deku and Bakugo, who stay up playing video games. This is one thing that I haven't told yet. Deku loves video games. It's like the thing he loves most in the world, even above All Might second. But while they're staying up late playing video games, they suddenly hear a loud crash and run to Deku's parents' room and wake up his dad, who then grabs his gun he made himself. With a low-level matter control, he can create his own bullets and send them flying at insanely quick speeds. One sec, let me make sure my thing's still recording. Yes, it is. They then go to the main hallway and they see 10 men. They were immediately spotted as one with a lightning quirk rushes at them. Hiyashi immediately shoots him in the head, causing instant death. Here in the bank, everyone else is awoken, except for Deku's mother, surprisingly. And They all run out into the hallway. Izumi screams in fear. Ozuka, trying to hide his fear, gets into a fighting stance even though his legs were shaking. The only one who didn't seem to be afraid was Bakugo, who activates his costume ready for with explosions popping. Seeing one of their crew killed, the villains were enraged and begin to rush at the family. Deku, with his quick thinking, pulls out his own gun he made in his room. Although it isn't as good as his dad's due to limited materials, it still fires. It's like a normal pistol. Deku shoots the chandelier, making it fall, like the chain that was holding the chandelier, making it fall and crush 3 of the villains. Suddenly a red light is shown at Deku's dad and the gun powers down. He falls to one knees and says, "Impossible, that's that anti-Quirk gun. It was meant to be in a development stage, but if you have it, that means that you work for." Deku's dad scowls. 3 more villains run in, but Bakugo with his costume runs at them, throwing an explosion, injuring 2 of them, but before he could hit the third one, could hit him, Deku shot him in the head. Remember, Deku has high IQ and he's very quick thinking. That's when it happened. A villain with a wind crack blows him all the way onto a wall, and a villain rushes at Deku, who had just dropped his gun with a knife. No, with a sword, I mean. Deku's dad jumps in the way of this, saving his son's life by getting stabbed through the heart. Deku breaks down in tears, but quickly realises this isn't the time for tears, as he sees someone rushing at his siblings, the same person who just killed his dad, with a sword in hand. Bakugo jumps in their way, and launches an explosion which only diverts the slash, and his shield blocks most of it, but not all of it as it breaks. And that means Bakugo's side was cut open, but thankfully it didn't cut him in half like it was meant to. Deku, seeing that the villain is about to go for a second slash, killing his best friend and siblings, realises he can't just sit there, and he picks up his gun and shoots the villain in the side of the head. Just to watch as in turn as the villain tears in him, laughing. "It's a good thing that I have a metal plate in my head." Now realising that his sibling is about to die if Deku doesn't help, he runs in at full speed and punches the villain hard in the face, getting between them. Now pissed off, the villain smirks and plunges the sword at Deku and saying, "You're gonna die like your dad did, stabbed through the heart," as the sword tears through Deku's chest, stabbing through his heart, and his body falls lifeless. All of his memories are playing through Deku's eyes as he mutters. So this is what they mean when they say your fly flashes before your eyes. It's funny. I wish I could just play one more game. Soon all of the memories fade, and the last one is his dad dying, and he sees the fear in his sisters and brother's eyes. On repeat, Deku yells, "No, stop! Snap out of it! You need to save Izumi, Zuko, Kachan, and your mum! Come on, Izuku, wake up!" Deku's eyes shoot open with a sword still through his chest. As he looks up, seeing something that looked like a system he'd seen in his games before him. Saying which previous read, collecting previously gained experience. You have now reached level 5 with 15 stats to distribute. With 15 stat points to distribute, where would you like to apply them? Deku yells as his eyes turn black as a void, like the blackest black you can imagine. And a dark like purple energy begins to spark around him like electricity. He grabs the sword and yells, 15 points in the strength, and crushes it. The villain falls back yelling, "It's impossible. My Quirk is unbreakable sword. How could you crush it so easily?" Deku says in a twisted and pissed voice, "It's easy to break it if I erase the matter." Deku then in a flash appears in front of the villain, smashing his head into the ground, punching it. The hole in Deku's chest is then filled up with dark matter, as he grabs the villain's head and crushes it like a grape. He then opens his hand as dark matter gathers from around, then forming a sword. He sprints around faster than I can see, decapitating everything in there, until he gets the final one and says, "Who sent you?" The villain mutters all for one, as he grabs the Quirk cancelling gun and shoots at Deku. The gun seems to do no effect to Deku and soon quickly blows up. As the villain muttered all for one, Deku cuts his head off clean. He then begins to power down until he realises, wait, where's Mum? He runs into his parents' room, and when he sees, pisses him, like it breaks him. He sees his mum beaten up with a broken arm and busted lip, and a villain holding a knife ready to stab her. Deku, finally being pushed over the edge, finally loses the little control he had left, as he shoots at the villains with a dark blast of pure dark matter, completely erasing him. And the final one, Deku encases in dark matter, like his arm becomes dark matter and shoots around, wrapping around the villain. and he slowly crushes it in an agonizing death as he screams, "No, please, I'm so..." as he's crushed completely. Deku runs towards his mother, covering her in dark matter, healing all her wounds, running back to the room, healing Bakugo. Not being able to heal the scar though, and calls the police. Bakugo calls his mum as she arrives just after the police, and when she sees what's happened and sees everyone, she's broke down in tears, not only due to Deku's dad being dead, but she sees Deku's once bright smile that he always had is now gone, and is replaced with a cold blank stare, as his face was covered in his father's blood. Deku is dead silent until we hear the detective who was talking to his mum saying, "We need to take you into questioning on how these villains died, as no one here has a quirk this powerful." Deku's rage begins to boil up as his eyes return to that black colour, and he floats in the air as he shoots dark matter down, pinning the detective, and yells, "It was me it was my quirk, it awakened as they stabbed me through the heart while I tried to save my siblings. And yet, after all that has happened to my mother, you still want to take her into questioning. I shall kill you where you stand." Deku only stops as Inka yells from the stop, and after this all the detectives leave pretty quickly, afraid to piss him off. 2 months have now passed, and Deku wears a fake smile that no one else can see through, as he realised it was as his smile made everyone happier, but his true feelings were shown when he lost control of his emotions due to rage. Deku has figured out his quirk mostly. He can control dark matter, and has some sort of leveling system. Deku assumes that this was mainly due to his quirk manifesting when his last wish was to be able to play one more video game. And I also added this due to what a fan asked. The fan who recommended this asked me to do it because it will give a way for Deku to train his quirk better. And also, for those who knows what dark matter is, if it goes out of control, it can easily destroy the universe. So this is like a training system, and it now helps Deku to grow his quirk and unlock new abilities by gaining XP and leveling up. Deku is now roughly about level... Actually, you know what? We're not going to do that yet. This system allows him to train his quirk and unlock new abilities by gaining XP and leveling up. Deku has just reviewed a new part of his quirk he unlocked, Vacuum. But before he could read the details of it, someone knocked on the door, and Deku answered it. There was 4 people there claiming who worked for Deku's dad, so Deku let them in. When his mother came down, the conversation began. One began and said, due to the death of Hiyashi Midoriya, his will states that his eldest son inherits 75% of his shares of the company, while his wife keeps her 25% of the share, as well as 50% of his assets go to his eldest son, 25% of his assets go to his wife, and 12% goes to his other son, and the final 12% goes to his daughter. He looks at Deku in the eyes and says that equates roughly to about £2 trillion. Or for you lot, one second, let me look up how much is £2 trillion in dollars. Okay, £2 trillion in dollars. I know that this is getting off topic, but I actually want to know. That would be $2.6 trillion for those of you who live in the UK. No. Oh no, please. Oh, I opened up another application. Sorry. One second. Roughly equates to about £2 trillion. Are you sure you can handle that, or do you want your mother to hold it as a sort of trust fund until you're 18? Deku quickly says that he will take it, and the man leaves. By the way, that was only the assets. The company was worth way more than £2 trillion. The 3 other men begin to talk, and one say, "We work for your father's company, and we would first like to welcome you, but at the same time, however, we disagree with our child running the company." Inko interrupts and says, "How dare you? His father's just died and now you're trying to drive him out and take over." She calms down when she notices Deku's looking at her smiling. But then one man yells, "Shut up, woman, this is a man's business." Deku's expression changed to serious and annoyed. The man continued to speak. "Many people in our company believe a quirkless kid shouldn't run it, and we have all voted that you should give your percentage to us and we will take care of it. Of course you will be given a hefty sum of money." The men when they say this begin to laugh, thinking Deku knows nothing about business. They think Deku believes that the company can vote out the majority holder. Deku begins to laugh and says, "Do you think I'm stupid enough to believe that my percentage is controlled by your vote? I may be a child, but my father taught me very, very well about business. The men scowl and says, is that how it is? We can easily beat you down until you sign it. Sign the paper to give us your share. What would a quirkless black brat like you... I did not say quirkless black brat. I stuttered and said brat. What would a quirkless brat like you do to stop us? Deku had finally had enough, and as his eyes turned black and dark lightning appears on his body. His strength was now, like his stats, his strength was now 20. His speed, well basically his lack agility was 10. His stamina was 13. His defense was 10 and his control was 25. If you're wondering what control is, it's how well Deku can control and manipulate his dark matter quirk and how strong it is. Like I said, because if it goes out of control, it can destroy everything. And in the blink of an eye, Deku's roundhouse kicked one of the men, sending him flying, and he creates 100 daggers out of dark matter and puts them all at the men. And says, by the way, I ain't quirkless anymore. He shoots both men in the leg once with a dagger and says, that's for disrespecting my mother. And cuts off both of their hands. Each one of them gets one hand cut off. And says, that's for trying to drag me out of my company. Now piss off and spread the word that if you try to fuck me, or you die. The men, you're meant to be quirkless. Deku roars, I was quirkless until I got stabbed through the heart protecting my family. Now for the last time, piss off. We now skip to Deku's last day in middle school. Him and Bakugo are now even closer than before, and this what if might drag on a little bit longer than expected, guys. Him and Bakugo are now even closer than before, as if they were best friends when it happened. They are now brothers now. And he's the only reason that Deku can even keep up his happy personality, even if it's fake. Then the new kid who's been attending this school for about 3 months walks into class. He is very cocky and just a horrible person. But no matter what he did, he was always desperate for attention and for people to like him. And no matter what he did, everyone liked Deku more than him. And he hated that. So today was the last day of school and he was going to get payback. He walked over to Deku and started taunting him and says, look at this spoiled brat thinking he's better than everyone. All you do every day is talk to the Pomeranian. What, did mummy not teach you any matters? I'm not going to give you any sympathy because your dad died. He probably deserved it. He's weak and he couldn't protect his family. Isn't that why your best friend has that scar on his stomach? Because he had to protect him instead of you? You quirkless little bitch. Keep in mind, Deku kept his quirk a secret, so no one really knows about it, except for Bakugo. Bakugo immediately grabs this bully by his neck and begins to choke him. How dare you say that, you bastard, I'm gonna melt your face. You don't even know what happened. Deku was the one who said... Bakugo is interrupted by Deku, who says, it's fine Bakugo, leave him. Leave him alone. The bully laughs and says, yeah, see, he said leave me alone. He knows I'm joking with him. Bakugo puts him down while smirking, as he knows that Deku said Bakugo and not Car-chan, meaning Izuku is about to fuck shit up. The bully goes back to Deku, ready to start talking again, until Deku's eyes, who are now black, like when his quirk activates, like he starts using his quirk, his green eyes become black. He grabs the bully by his hair and slams his head through the desk, breaking it and then slamming it into the floor. Everyone looking at this is shocked. Deku, who's never fought back once, is now fighting back. He kicks the bully across the classroom. The bully screams, how dare you! He activates his quirk, Electric Whip, and he tries to whip Deku at full power. But Deku raises his hand and uses his new ability, Vacuum. An orb of pure darkness, similar to a black hole, appears. It was made out of dark matter. It sucks in everything like a black hole. And it sucks up the bully's quirk, Electric Whip. Deku gets the notification, XP gained and new skill unlocked, Electric Whip. This is why Vacuum is so insanely powerful. Whatever quirk it absorbs, it becomes a skill for Deku. Deku smirks and activates it, and it's the same as the bullies, but it was a dark purple and far more powerful, as the more high Deku's control stat is, the more powerful he can make these quirks. It was being powered by dark matter, and the bully yells, how did you just, that's my quirk. Deku immediately whips the bully, leaving 30-degree burns, and the bully yells in pain, and it's barely able to say, my quirk isn't that powerful. Deku then deactivates the quirk and grabs the bully by his ankle and swings him around, slamming him into the ground over and over again. Deku begins to speak. How dare you talk about my father when you're probably a disappointment to your own. He chucks the bully into the air, just to slam him back down into the ground. Deku smirks and places his hand over He places his hand over the bully's hand and uses dark matter control to break down the atoms in the bully's hand, causing it to vanish. The bully screams, my hand is gone, but Deku just uppercuts him and whispers in his ear, talk about my parents again, and you'll be gone for good. I was the one who saved them. I killed them all to save my family. What stops me from killing a little prick like you? Sorry guys, my voice went weird, I'm losing my voice. You know what guys, some of you may know my favourite drink in the world is Club Orange, and I have a big pint glass of it right here. Oh. Deku goes to sit back down. Sorry. Deku goes to sit back down, but the bully, who doesn't know when to stop, uses electric whip to try hit Deku's head. But Deku blocks it with a force sword made out of dark matter. Deku instantly runs up and boots the bully's nose and chucks him out of the window. Bakugo yells, no Deku, stop! But Deku uses an electric whip to catch him before he hits the ground and swing him back into the classroom, smashing him into the wall. Deku, who's now enraged, yells, I let you out too easy. As Deku gets on top of him and that begins pummeling him with punch after punch after punch for a minute straight, until Bakugo drags him off him, and Deku and Bakugo have to leave the school early as they both already applied for the UA Hero course. Deku did this due to his father's light wish. As they're walking home, they're both attacked by a slime villain. But this time, due to Deku's dark matter shield, they're both fine, and both Deku and Bakugo attack simultaneously, easily beating it. And by the time All Might arrive, they've already put it into a bottle. Seeing All Might, Bakugo immediately begins to fanboy. And when All Might tries to jump away, Bakugo clutches onto his leg, causing Deku to laugh and fly after them. When they land because All Might runs out of time, and he's forced to explain his backstory due to them all thinking he's an imposter. His backstory due to his injury and how he can only use his quirk for a time now. During the conversation, they hear an explosion, and Bakugo and Deku both make eye contact and nod, as Deku grabs onto Bakugo's arm and flies him towards it. When they land, they see it's the same bully that Midoriya beat up, but it's being held by the slime villain. Bakugo looks down in shame as he knows it's his fault that All Might dropped it. Deku, seeing who it is, he cares less and he begins to walk off. Bakugo wants to stop him and get him to help, but he knows he has no right to. Even so, Deku has more right to let this person die than help them. As Deku's walking away, he stops and realises, what am I doing? If Dad was here, he would try to help him no matter what. Deku was holding back tears, activates his quirk and flies over top. Bakugo, who's now smiling, runs up behind them. The slime villain sees him, immediately hurls a blast of sand at him, thinking, no, not you again. Deku uses vacuum to absorb the slime and unlocks a skill. Slime body skill unlocked. Deku then uses it as his arms turn into a dark purple slime, which easily overpowered the slime villain and spins him to the ground. He then I remember the slime quirk is powered by dark matter. He then jumps into the air and uses an electric whip to shock the slime villain as well as begin cutting it into bits. Bakugo then, sneaking up behind him, blasts the slime villain with an explosion. Deku uses black blades made out of dark matter to cut around the trapped student, rescuing him. Finally, Deku manages to get the student to safety. And as some of you might know, well, as a theory, all living things have a small traces of dark matter inside them. And Deku, with his training, can now hone in on it and find it. Although it takes a few seconds, when he finds it, it's game over. He begins to compress the slime villain into a small little ball and creates an orb of dark matter, a dark matter prison, should we call it. And he then seals the slime villain inside it. He then chucks the student, who was alright, and then bows his head and apologises for what he said. Deku just says, it's whatever, and I'll piss off. 1 second guys, you know what, there's enough. Deku and Bakugo now leave. Before they can fully get home, All Might appears. Actually, let me check how much long this Whatif actually has gotten, guys. If it's longer than 35 minutes, I'll end it here. Oh, we're not even at 30 minutes yet. All Might interrupts him before they can get home and says, you two need to promise not to share my secret. Deku says very blandly, says, cool, I won't. Well, Bakugo, who's a bit less of a fanboy, but still a fanboy, says, of course, All Might. All Might freezes up for a second and then yells, young man, would you like to be my successor? He's talking to Azuku, and he just says, I'm good, my quirk doesn't suit your style. All Might then explains one for all quirk, and Deku instead says, how about this, drop a bit of your blood inside this, as Deku creates a vacuum. All Might then drops a bit of his blood in it, and Deku gets a notification. New skill unlocked, one for all. Deku smirks until the text begins to glitch in like a purplish colour and is replaced with assault mode. Deku's interesting. Assault mode. I wonder what that is. Deku then says, "Nah, I won't be a successor, but he will," pointing to Bakugo. Of course, Bakugo accepts, and the training for UA begins. Bakugo wants to test if Deku can gain his quirk, and of course Deku can, now having dark matter powered explosions, as well as, what was he before? I say Deku was level like 30 before. Deku, from absorbing all these quirks, that's an insane amount of XP from absorbing the quirks. It's now level 45. And I'll do like a little stat assessment next part. And of course, now with dark matter powered explosions, Deku trains mostly on his own, attempting to figure out his own abilities. He discovers that assault mode is a form where his body is constantly absorbing dark matter and gets stronger every second, like Meliodas' assault mode. However, when he's in this form, it drains his stamina a lot more quickly. Deku was not bothered by this, as the main thing he was happy about was that the power up he gained from assault mode seemed to be permanent even after he exits the form, meaning that isn't a cheat mode ability. Deku practices controlling dark matter till he can eventually mold it and create minions out of it. And these minions are as strong as Deku makes them, basically as much as dark matter as Deku puts into them. And they are sort of like Naruto shadow clones. Any like activity they do and like things they beat, Deku gains experience with them, which helps him level up massively. Deku's system isn't the only way he can become stronger, as training outside of the system will also give him power boosts, which with his stat points they just add a number in brackets next to it. Deku now has very good control over his quirk, being able to transform the matter around him into dark matter, which creates a zone that once you're in, it's basically game over. It's like domain expansion. Everything around him goes like purpley dark, and once you're in it, any single attack of Deku's hits instantly, meaning an instant win. Deku uses assault mode pretty much every day as much as he could until he passes out, meaning he has now had a huge power boost. This also, as he leveled up, unlocked a new school called Pocket Dimension, and allow him to store anything he wants in there with an infinite storage, whether it's living or dead, and as soon as it's placed in there, it's frozen in time until it's removed. The 2 months for training are up, and Deku and Bakugo make their way into UA. One thing that is very noticeable, Bakugo is bulked up, and is a lot more muscular, while Deku has this new aura around him, which makes everyone wary of him, because it's like the aura of where he could fuck us up. They make it into the building and easily ace the written test. And then while they're being briefed in the exam, Deku is bored by this and falls asleep, just to be woken up moments later by Ida, who yells, "How dare you sleep in here? If you don't want to take it seriously, then I suggest you leave. No, I order you to leave in the 10-year family name." Deku actually open, he says, "Piss off, I don't give a fuck who your family is." Ida yells, "How dare you!" Ida then begins to shake as he feels Deku's bloodlust being poured over him. Deku says, "Can you shut up? You're distracting everybody." Ida attempts to continue, but suddenly his own shadow wraps around him as Deku manipulates the dark matter inside it, and it ties Ida to his chair, wrapping around his mouth, meaning he ain't able to talk. President Mike then continues, and the rule exam begins as they all prepare at the starting line. President Mike yells, "Begin!" as everyone rushes in. Deku easily dismantles any robot that goes his way, and the teachers watching this are impressed, which then turns into shock as they see that Deku can use multiple different types of quirks. First electric whip, then explosions, then slime. He can even create weapons. Finally, the 0-point robot appears, and while everyone runs away, Deku sees a girl with blonde hair stuck yelling for help. He immediately rushes in, and as the robot stomps down with one finger, he stops it and very calmly says, "You're mine now." As the ground around him becomes dark, Deku uses it. I'm just going to call it dark matter domain expansion. I'm just going to call it that. As Deku uses his dark matter domain expansion, creating his kill zone, in an instant the 0-point robot is surrounding the dark matter. Like it literally spreads around him and envelops it. As Deku can see all its code and all its like mechanics, he flies into the sky and yells, "Deactivation code 2476. It's then that all the robots are powered down. Deku can see every little information they have when he's surrounded it. Deku smirks as he flies down. The dark matter then fully spreads around the 0-pointer, consuming it, becoming Deku's minion. He then goes down to the girl and he says, "Are you okay?" She goes, "Yeah," with a smile. She goes, "What's your name?" Deku says, "My name's Izuku, what's yours?" And she says, "My name's Melissa." I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure you share with your friends, family, like, subscribe, comment down below what else you want to see. And yeah, please make sure you shout my thumbnail artist, get him to 300 subs. And other than that, guys, I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be seeing you guys in a bit. Bye.